Commission on the future of volunteering did identify a number of challenges aimed at the public, the private and the third sector, and I just want to focus on three of these. I think the overarching challenge is how we do achieve this vision that volunteering is truly a part of the DNA of our society. And as the Commission pointed out, there are still groups who feel that volunteering is not for them, or even worse, it's something that's only done to them. And these are mainly people who we would describe as being groups at risk of social exclusion. And I very much support the work of Ed Miliband, my Secretary of State, in the work we're doing through the Cabinet Office to reduce social exclusion. And I feel very passionate about exploring and enhancing the way that we can work jointly to ensure that volunteering and its benefits are genuinely open to all. The second challenge, I think, is how we retain the focus not just on quantity of volunteering, but on the quality of that volunteering experience, particularly how we support volunteer managers in their work. And I think that was another point, a major point made by the Commission. And it is actually why we responded by committing ourselves to support the Commission's recommendations on training for volunteers and volunteer managers with a new investment of £4 million over the next 3 years. And in addition, we have successfully opened Train to Gain, the government's flagship programme to provide skills training to employees to cover volunteers as well. And I definitely want to make sure there's a big signal and a big message and a big ask for you out there to make sure that third sector organisations in particular access the Train to Gain programme. And then the third challenge that I perceive is to reduce the barriers to volunteering. And we know what these barriers are. The misinterpretation of benefits rules, the misuse of CRB checks, and a host of others. And although we know what these barriers are, I think we now need to address them to ensure that legislation or guidelines that often well-meaning don't have an unintended consequence of stifling the natural phenomenon that is volunteering. But as well as challenges, I think there are some great opportunities for the future as well. I know tomorrow you're going to be talking about the Olympic and the Paralympic Games. I certainly reject the cynicism that you hear in some areas about the Games. I do believe that the Games can be a real vehicle for encouraging volunteering. I mean, the Games itself will need 70,000 volunteers, and that alone will be the single largest mobilisation of volunteers in recent history, a magnificent legacy going forward. And of course, the year before the Olympic Games is the 10th anniversary of the United Nations International Year of the Volunteer. And I think it will be an opportunity for all of us to use 2011 as a year to promote and celebrate volunteering. We're going to be supporting the year, and we want to work with you to ensure that that year is a real success. There is also, of course, an opportunity through V, which is funding some 500,000 new opportunities for young people to volunteer over the next 3 years through our new National Youth Volunteering Programme, V Involved. And what's important about this is that these new opportunities will be shaped by the passion, by the interests of young people themselves. Now, underpinning all of those challenges and those opportunities that I've been talking about is the government's role in supporting volunteering. Well, let me say that I see government's role as being that of an enabler, so that in response to the Commission for Volunteering, what we have to say is that we will ensure the diversity of volunteering by opening an access to volunteering fund. We're going to support good quality volunteering by funding training for volunteers and volunteer managers. And we are going to issue clearer guidance on benefit rules and on CRB checks, and backing those up with training and support if necessary to make sure that that guidance is properly used and properly understood. I mean, ultimately, I think the role of government is on creating an environment in which volunteering can continue to flourish. And as well as that enabling role, I think our role is to work in partnership with you. And in the case of our response to the Commission, there's no point in having an access to volunteering fund if organisations then don't go and apply to it and make their opportunities more accessible. And so there's no point either in having a training programme unless organisations give volunteer managers the time off that they need to attend, as well as the ongoing support as well. So in conclusion, I just want to highlight why I believe volunteering is and remains so important to this government. In my own experience, volunteering has a transformative effect on our society. It creates links between individuals who would never normally come into contact with each other. It increases tolerance and it increases understanding. I know it can provide real purpose and meaning to people's lives, and often people who had no idea that they were capable of giving and helping others. In short, it creates stronger communities who can pull together in times of crisis. I think in just over a month's time we're going to be having Volunteer Week, and I've no doubt that all of you will be engaged in that. And I just want to say that as the organisations that enable volunteering to be such a force for good and for social change, I want to congratulate you and thank you for what you do.